this is Harley from Garden FL, and today we're going to do a review on the mangoes we have at the farm here in Punta Gorda. As you see right here, we have a beautiful Jakarta tree in full bloom. So I'm just so happy that the mangoes are able to bloom here at the farm, because it just makes me very happy knowing that the mangoes are able to grow here. Now actually this year I won't be letting the mangoes fruit. I'm actually going to be cutting off the buds of some of these mango trees. But let's take a better look at this beautiful Jakarta mango. As you see right here is the Jakarta mango. It is just in beautiful full bloom. This mango is just swarming with all sorts of pollinator all around, and it just looks really good in full bloom. As you see very closely on the flowers, you can see little baby mangoes forming. As you see closer here are the little tiny baby mangoes, and you can kind of see, and you can also see a much better look of the mango flower. As you see, this is how the Jakarta mango looks like from afar, and if you get closer, you see the tag right here, Jakarta mango. So we are now going to check out our other mangoes that are in full bloom. Now, like I said, I'm not going to let a lot of these mangoes fruit and flower like how they are now. I'm actually going to be cutting off the panicles, because it's not good to let these flower and hold fruit at such a young age. But this right here is the M4 mango. As you see, it's also set fruit, and the M4 mango is just very beautiful. They say this M4 mango tastes like coconut. As you see, here's a bug trying to pollinate the flower, I believe. Beautiful. As you see, I really like this M4 mango, how it looks. And here's the tag. As you see, M4 mango. Here's a better look. As you see, it's really small mango right now. It stands about 3 feet tall, but I just really love how it's gonna look and how it's fruiting right now. It gets really good sun. And right over here we have the scion talon. Now this scion talon is also known for being a very good mango. Now it bloomed earlier, not as strong as my other mangoes, but nonetheless, I'm gonna let it grow and I'm gonna start tipping it, and I'm gonna prune those flowers because I don't think any set. But overall, I believe this tree just needs more water and also more mulch. So that's something I'm gonna get here pretty soon. But as you see, we have scion talon, Myanmar, but nonetheless, the scion talon flowers are still really beautiful. So moving on, we actually have Pina Colada. And this Pina Colada doesn't look too good. It seems like it got anthracnose. And that's something that someone told me before about Pina Colada, that it can actually be very finicky and it might need sprays, foliar sprays. So this just might be the truth of what they said. As you see right here, it says Pina Colada. But still, nonetheless, this tree definitely needs to be trained. And I'm definitely gonna prune it on the way and tip it very well. But overall, I'm just happy that I was able to flower. So actually moving on, I have a Mahashinook mango that actually hasn't bloomed yet, but it looks like it's gonna bloom almost. As you see, it's pushing out a new bud. Now actually my Mahashinook at home in Bradenton, Florida is actually doing the same thing. Believe it or not, it actually hasn't pushed yet at my house too, and it kind of has these same sort of blooms, but it's more far along than this one. But as you see, this Mahashinook is actually pretty tall and pretty thick at the base as well. And over here you see it has the mango Mahashinook. So moving on over here, we have an unknown mango, but I actually believe this may be lemon zest, but I'm not sure, honestly, although it was grafted and it's producing fruit. Now, I know it's of a good variety. I forgot. Maybe I'll find the tag somewhere, but I'm just happy overall that it's producing. But like I said, this one I'll probably cut as well, the panicles, because it's still pretty small. Well, actually, it's pretty tall, honestly, but it's just very lanky and just needs to be pruned. And also, I'm not comfortable with fruiting it, considering how thin this wood is. Although it's tall, it's still a bit lanky and also weirdly shaped. I'll definitely have to train this with ropes somehow. So moving on over here, I also have a Namdak Mai mango, which was flowering and it has some fruit, but I believe I'm gonna also not let I actually won't let these fruit as well. But as you see, this Namdak Mai has actually fruited. Instead of fruit, it's actually pretty big, but I'll be removing it just because this Namdak Mai mango is still very small. It's actually at a really good height actually, and it's pretty thick at the base, but I just really wanted to have a really nice canopy still, and I just want to mulch this better in the future, because like I said, I really haven't mulched any of my fruit trees as much as I should have, and I know with better mulch they'll just be more moistured and much stronger to produce a bigger fruit with a better canopy next season or in the next few seasons. As you see, this is the overall height of the Namdak Mai mango, and like I said, down at the base you see it says Namdak Mai, and the base is actually pretty thick right here. Also, Namdak Mai is known for being a container mango, so you could also keep this one in a pot. This one was actually kept in a pot for a while, but I decided to plant it here once I got this farm. So let's go check out my other mangoes. So some of the other mangoes I have here at the farm that are flowering are in weird locations. Like this one right here, for example, is one I need to cut, but this one I actually transplanted recently. I actually transplanted a lot of these mangoes that were out in the field. For example, this is a P22 mango, but this mango actually used to be planted out there. It was planted out there amongst those other mangoes, but I decided to actually plant them over here. I decided to actually plant them in other locations where they could grow bigger, because I just wanted to grow those trees to a pretty decent size too, without having to worry about pruning them so much in the future. Although I still will prune these to a pretty good extent. But as you see, this is why this one's all crooked looking, because I transferred it while it was flowering. I'm honestly pretty impressed that this P22 mango is able to still flower while I transferred it. But anyways, I'm gonna cut off this panicle. But as you see, the P22 mango is still kind of flowering and holding fruit. Now I also have more mangoes that are flowering around my property. These are just in the front, but in the back I have a few more. So we're gonna head to the back of the property to see the other mangoes that are flowering. Now another mango that I skipped is over there. So I wanted to cover this mango over here before I went to the back of my property, because this is still technically in the front. But this is a Kiwi mango. Now I actually don't know much about this mango, but my Thai friend who sold me it told me that it is one of the biggest mangoes in Thailand. She said that this mango is basically, she described this mango basically being the size of a lansanita mango, which if you knew, the lansanita is actually super big, or lansantilla, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. But anyway, the Kiwi mango is basically the same way, but it's shaped like a Nam Dak Mai mango or a Maha Chinook. It has that kind of typical pointy Thai mango style, and you can tell that this mango is just going to be a huge mango, like she said, because look at the size of this leaf. This leaf is basically the size of my whole forearm. As you see, this leaf is just really big. It's bigger than basically my arm. It's just very long and thick. And as you see, this mango is also flowering. So these are the Kiwi flowers. It hasn't quite yet bloomed yet, but I just really like the red color to it. And believe it or not, I actually moved this mango just recently. It really wasn't here before. This mango is actually out in the field getting all that sun where all the mangoes were in the beginning of the video. But I decided to move this mango here only because since it was a big mango, it needs a big tree to also go with the mango. So I decided to leave it here where I could actually develop a huge canopy in this area. It's kind of to the side, kind of off to the corner of my farm. So it really has a big space to grow, because I'm very interested to see these huge Thai mangoes in the future. I really love all Thai variety mangoes. So I'm just really excited to see more of this mango in the future. And like I said, I probably won't let it fruit whatsoever this year, maybe for another 3 to 5 years. I really want to develop the nice canopy. As you see, for now, it's just kind of like a big stick. It really isn't much of a tree or has much of a canopy. So now we're actually going to continue and go to the back of my property where I have more mangoes. And as you see, everything looks a bit dry right now, but everything is coming along. We are getting new sugar apple growth, new everything. And I'm gonna make another video about the new growth here at the farm and all the sugar apples and all the nonas, because it is growing a lot here. But overall, I'm just really happy with the new growth that we're getting at the farm, and especially with the mangoes, because it's just kind of like a reminder to us, knowing that the mangoes are growing good here in these soils. So I just see, you can kind of see a few mangoes right there in the background. But here I actually have a Pina Colada mango. I just see this mango is just really short and it's kind of in the shade. But it's cool knowing that it's able to flower in the shade. But as you see, Pina Colada, I definitely won't let this hold fruit, because as you see, it's just so small and it's just one tiny tree. And this one I definitely need to cut, because all the energy is going to letting it flower like that. Right beside it, I actually have the pineapple pleasure mango, and this pineapple pleasure looks really dry and I actually need to water it. I haven't actually watered it, I don't think, since I planted it, but as you see, it's also a graft and it's trying to push out. But we're gonna get rains tomorrow. I'm sure it'll start pushing out something, but I don't really want to let it flower. As you see, continuing on right back here, I have a few other mangoes that are flowering just fine. This is actually the Dwarf Hawaiian. Now the Dwarf Hawaiian flower actually suffered anthracnose, I believe. Everything got really black on the panicles and they actually fell off, and these are just new panicles and flowers that they pushed out. So I'm really surprised that the Dwarf Hawaiian is doing this. As you see, it's Dwarf Hawaiian. It stays dwarf by its name, but as you know, I'll still be putting this one pretty heavily. And the Dwarf Hawaiian is actually a really good mango. I really like the flavor of the Dwarf Hawaiian. As you see, that is what the panicles look like. They kind of got this weird black look on the panicles. Here's a better look at the Dwarf Hawaiian. Now, if you guys know what to do with this, maybe I have to spray it with something, but if you guys can suggest an organic method I can do to help this next year and as the year goes on, because obviously I won't let it fruit for another 2 to 3 years, but still I want to do something to help the trees out the best I can. So I have a few other mangoes that are not flowering, but I'm just gonna mention anyway. This is Kiwi Savoy, and this is another Thai mango, I believe. In this one, you eat green, the Kiwi Savoy, or you can actually eat it when it turns, you know, ripe. But I like to eat mangoes green with hot peppers, and I just like to make it spicy, so that's why I'm growing that variety. And then right over here, I have another mango. I actually forgot this variety. This is Ugly Betty, and this Ugly Betty is actually slower at pushing out. So this Ugly Betty actually is about to push out a flower, it looks like, but I also tip it, and you know, it's gonna look good. Ugly Betty is another variety I have, and it's also black right here. I think it's because the humidity here, but I'm not too sure. But if you guys know, I'll fix that because I'm worried it will affect the flower like it did on a Dwarf Hawaiian. I also need to keep that for this too. So moving on, so continuing on back here, I actually have another mango, and these mangoes are actually blooming as well. Now right here, as you see, this is a beautiful mango in bloom right now, and this is actually the Harvest Moon. This Harvest Moon is another mango, just like the Kiwi mango, the Thai mango, that needs to be a big tree, because this Harvest Moon is known for being a really big mango. This mango gets like 3 to 4 pounds. It's just super huge. As you see, it's already setting fruit, but I really need to trim this one, just because I have a friend who told me that it's definitely worth to trim the tree when it's young, and I definitely agree with it. It's not worth the few fruit you're gonna get at such a young age, although this tree could definitely hold about 1 fruit at its size. And as you see, they're here, we have a fly pollinating the flower. And if you don't know, flies are actually one of the main pollinators of mango flowers in Florida. So it's cool to see that, you know, they're already being pollinated by many flies, and as you see, other insects too, and bees and all sorts of insects. So as you see, going down the Harvest Moon, you see this is Harvest Moon. Even on tag it says 3 to 4 plus pounds. So it just goes to show you that this tree actually needs to grow very big, and it's actually a pretty thick size already, the trunk. But obviously, you know, it needs to be a thick tree and big tree to support a big fruit. So that's the ideology around having a big mango tree, or that's the thinking behind if you choose a big mango variety. And some other big mango varieties are Harvest Moon, Lancintilla, Kiwi. Those are some that I can think off the top of my head. Or Valencia Pride is another one that get pretty big. So just keep that in mind if you like a big mango, like these varieties. Just keep in mind the spacing that you need to do when choosing where to plant these mangoes. As you see, this is where I decided to plant this mango, and it kind of has a lot of good space around it. As you see, I really didn't plant much around it. I planted a moringa, which is I can use this chop and drop, but as you see, overall I don't really have much planted. I have a June plum right there, but that can be trimmed. But this Harvest Moon will obviously take up most of the space. So moving on over here, I definitely have another mango that is flowering, and I really like this mango because it's really big, and I'm surprised about how many blooms it actually put off. But this one as well, the flowers look a little weird. Maybe it looks like it has anthracnose, so that's maybe something I'll be fighting here at the farm that I need a cure. But so this is actually the Juliet mango. As you see, I can already see a lot of fruit set on this Juliet. But as you see, this tree overall is just really good size. And I got this tree from my friend Leaf in West Palm Beach. As you see, Juliet mango, and overall just really big. I got this mango for a really good deal too. And overall, it was just in a really small pot, and it was just a really big tree. So it was a little root bound, I believe, but once I planted it in the ground, it just really was so happy that I was able to grow. As you see, overall, this tree is just huge, and overall, all over the panicles, you see this is just loaded with fruit set on the Juliet mango. Wow, even up here at the top panicle, you really see the ridiculous amount of mangoes. So each of these green dots is basically a mango that's set. Now obviously not all of them are gonna stick, a lot of them will fall off, but the ones that do stick, for example, like this one is the biggest one out of all these tiny ones. Those are the ones that will grow. But like I said, for this one, although the tree is big, the root system overall to this Juliet mango tree is not strong, because like I said, the pot was just so small that I planted it, and I literally planted it about 3 months ago. So it's definitely not the right size to be holding a lot of fruit, even though it definitely is possible. I've definitely planted mangoes and this have happened, like I've let it fruit and hold about 2 to 3 fruit, and not much happened to the tree other than the fact that it was a little stunted in its growth. But if you really want fruit at this size of mango tree, I could definitely let it hold fruit. But overall, I'm just really surprised of this Juliet mango tree. So thank you guys so much for watching this update video on the mango blooms and the mango flowers here at the farm. I really hope you like this video. Now in the future, I will be pruning these as far as the flowers and how they go, because I really want them to be focused on the roots. So I will be making a video more on that. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a good day, and I hope your mango blooms are doing great. Bye now.